Hello friends, this is Ms. Shasafullah from Group 9 and this is my video presentation related to chemotherapy. So first of all, we'll discuss the differentiation between normal cells and cancer cells. So normal cells are actually small and they have uniformly shaped nuclei, relatively low cytoplasmic volume and conformity and size and shape. Cells are arranged and into discrete tissues, may possess differentiated cell structures in normal presentation of cell surface markers, lower levels of dividing cell tissues clearly demarcated. Cancer cells, on the other hand, have large, variable shaped nuclei, relatively small cytoplasmic volume, variation in small cell size and shape, disorganized arrangement of cells, loss of normal specialized features, elevated expression of certain cell markers, large number of dividing cells, poorly defined tumor boundaries. So if we look into the structure of cells, so it has a nucleus first of all and surrounded by a nuclear membrane, which is double layered membrane, central wall, mitochondria, nucleolus, chromosome, Golgi apparatus, ribosome, cytoplasm, and which all the organelles flow, and endoplasmic reticulum, and the cell membrane or plasma membrane, which is a lipid bilayer membrane. So cancer is a disease in which some of the body cells grow uncontrollably and spread to other parts of the body. DNA repair genes are involved in fixing damaged DNA cells with mutations, and these genes tend to develop additional mutations in other genes and changes in their chromosomes, such as duplications and deletion of chromosomes parts. Together, these mutations may cause the cells to become cancerous. The tumor microenvironment, TME, is the environment around a tumor, including the surrounding blood vessels, immune cells, fibroblastic molecules, and the extracellular matrix. The tumor and the surrounding microenvironment are closely related and interact constantly. Tumors can influence the microenvironment by releasing extracellular signals and promoting tumor angiogenesis and including peripheral immune tolerance, while the immune cells in the microenvironment can affect the growth and evolution of cancer cells. Now let's talk about another topic, and that is metastasis. So what is metastasis? Cancer cells that spread from where it started to a distinct part of the body is called metastatic cancer. For many types of cancer, it is called stage 4 cancer, which is also the last stage of cancer. The process by which cancer cells spread to other parts of the body is called metastasis. Many different kinds of chemotherapy or chemo drugs are used to treat cancer, either alone or in combination with other drugs or treatment. These drugs are very different in chemical composition, what they are made of, how they are prescribed, and given how useful they are in treating certain types of cancer, and the side effects they might have every time any new cell is formed at goes through a usual process to become a fully functioning mature cell. The process involves a series of phases and is called a cell cycle. Chemotherapy drugs target cells in different phases of the cell cycle. Understanding how these drugs work helps doctors predict which drugs are likely to work well together. Doctors can also plan how often dose of each drug should be given based on the timing of the cell phases. Let's talk something more about the cancer. Cancer tends to form new cells more quickly than normal cells, and thus makes them a better target for chemotherapy drugs. However, chemo drugs can't tell the difference between healthy cells and cancer cells. This means normal cells are damaged along with the cancers, and this causes side effects each time chemo is given. It means trying to find a balance between killing the cancer cells and trying to control the disease and sparing the normal cells to lessen side. The good news is that normal cells will recover from the effects of chemo over time, but cancers are mutated cells and they usually do not recover from the effects of chemo. This is why chemo is good at killing many types of cancer cells. Let's talk about class of chemo drugs. And so alkylating agents, platinum compounds, and nitrosorase, antimetabolites, anthracyclines, and microtubular agents, alkaloids and vaccines, topoisomerase inhibitors, anti-tumor antibiotics, anthracyclines, and corticosteroids, other chemotherapy drugs. Let's quickly talk about the alkylating agents, and those are the agents that keeps the cell from reproducing by making up new copies by limiting its DNA. These drugs work in all phases of the cell cycle and are used to treat many different cancers, including cancers of the lung, breast, and ovary, as well as leukemia, lymphoma, Hodgkin disease, and multiple myeloma and sarcoma. Because these drugs damage that can affect the cells of the bone marrow, which make new blood cells. So let's talk about platinum compounds. And these guys, yeah. So platinum-based anti-neoplastic drugs, and formerly called platins, or chemotherapy therapeutic agents used to treat cancer that are coordination complex of platinum. These drugs are used to treat almost half of the people receiving chemotherapy for cancer. Commonly used drugs in this form of chemotherapy, are cisplatin, oxaliplatin, and carboplatin, but several have been proposed or under development. Let's talk about cisplatin here. The mechanism of action of cisplatin has been associated with the ability to cross-link with the purine bases on the DNA to form DNA adducts, preventing repair of DNA, leading to DNA damage, subsequently induces apoptosis within cancer. Administration that has varied from 15 to 120 minutes infusion, 1 milligram per minute infusion. Now let's talk about antimetabolites. Antimetabolites interfere with DNA and RNA by acting as a substitute for the normal building blocks of RNA and DNA. When this happens, the DNA cannot make copies of itself and it still cannot reproduce. They are commonly used to treat leukemia, cancers of breast, ovary, and the intestinal tract, as well as other types of cancer. Isacitidine, 5-fluorouracil, 6-argatropurine, and cladribine. And so also let's talk about other types of drugs used to treat cancer. Other drugs and biological treatments are used to treat cancer but aren't considered chemotherapy. They often have different side effects than chemotherapy. Many are used along with surgery, chemo, or radiation therapy. Targeted therapies work by finding specific substances called proteins or receptors that some cancer cells have. The proteins or receptors is precisely targeted by the drugs, so normal cells are not affected by drugs. This is different than how the traditional chemotherapy drugs work. Targeted drugs can be used as the main treatment for cancer. Hormone therapy. Drugs in this category work on different actions of hormones that make some cancers grow. These drugs are used to slow the growth of certain breast, prostate, and endometrial cancers, which normally grow in response to natural sex hormones in the body. They work by making the cancer cells unable to use the hormone they need to grow, or by preventing the body from making the hormone. Immunotherapy. Immunotherapy is a type of treatment that uses drugs to boost or alter a person's immune system. These drugs are used with certain types of cancers to help patient's immune system recognize and attack cancer cells. Thank you for watching and thank you for your attention. See you next time. Goodbye.